everyone, today on People Now, why an insider says Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's hands were forced to step down as senior royals. New details in this week's People Cover story.
Champagne Gate takes Bachelor Nation by storm. The good, the bad, and the dramatic all coming up in our Bachelor recap.
Kim and Kanye courtside as Tristan Thompson takes on the Lakers. Twitter has some thoughts.
Welcome to my new house! A basketball court, a candy counter, and more. YouTube superstar JoJo Siwa gives fans a sneak peek inside her new California mansion.
Plus, John Walsh and his son Callahan are back on the hunt for fugitives, and they're giving us details on their new show.
It's all live today on People Now. Let's go.
Hey, happy Tuesday, everyone. Welcome to People Now.
Yeah.
We're making it through the week. How are you?
How's your Tuesday going?
Tuesday's going great.
Yeah.
There is so much to get to today.
I can't wait to talk about The Bachelor. I mean, that's coming up later, but it's very funny stuff.
There are so many perfect peak Bachelor moments from last night's episode. Yeah, we're going to break that down, but a lot more to get to as well as we start off with this week's People Cover story. We're learning why Prince Harry and Meghan Markle walked away from the royal family, and here with all the details, People's senior news editor, Aaron Hill. Thank you for being here, Aaron.
Aaron, there's a lot going on.
Yes.
Your world must be crazy right now with all of this.
It is.
Yeah, let's start with this. So what are sources saying about the decision that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle made to step down as senior royals?
You know, a close family friend is telling people that this is not how they wanted it to go down, that they felt like their hand was forced, that there is bad blood in the family and it's toxic at times. If relationships had been different, this may have gone down in a different way. But between, the rift between the family, we know the brothers, have issues that they're working out. And on top of that, the confines within the royal family and the royal duties, financial restrictions. I mean, Meghan said it herself, it's not enough to just survive something, you have to thrive, and so this is them thriving.
I gotta say, I'm pretty shocked to hear words like toxic family. I'm shocked to hear things like forced hand. It's just a side of things that we haven't really heard a ton about. There's been so much made also about the negative headlines, the negative press that have surrounded Harry and Meghan. How much has that played into their decision here?
That is definitely part of it. The negative press treatment that Meghan has received, we're being told she was deeply, deeply hurt by this. And not feeling supported by her in-laws. We know that Meghan and Harry have felt like outsiders within the family, so that on top of the negative press treatment made them feel really alone.
But don't you agree, I mean, just to say something that we are always talking about on the royal record, every royal is subject to negative press. So that's not something that's in other words, it makes sense that there's way more to it than just negative press, because that comes with the territory.
It does come with the territory, but if you take a look at the treatment, if you just really look at the difference between the treatment between Kate and Meghan, it's very clear. You see that the tone in the coverage is completely different.
It's shocking. You'll see that you'll go back to headlines with Kate cradling her bump and they're praising her, and then Meghan and they're saying that she's trying to get attention. It is really nuts when you look at the
they'll find a negative spin on anything, and so they really kind of felt like their hands were tied. They're not able to speak out directly against it. They couldn't turn to the family necessarily for support or comfort, so this is them stepping out on their own.
Yeah, now the Queen has responded, but on Monday the Queen held a summit at Sandringham with Prince Harry, Prince William, Prince Charles. So what do we know about that? Was there a decision that was made? What did they talk about?
Yeah, so this was held in the library at Sandringham, which is the Queen's country home, and it was just a 90-minute discussion. And within that time, it sounds like a lot of discussions were taking place leading up to this. This was a time for them all to get together in one room, Charles, Queen, William, and Harry, and just sort of lock down the details of what they were going to likely release to the public and just sort out a few more things.
So Meghan was supposed to call into that meeting and be part of it. She ended up not doing it. Why did that happen? What do we know about those circumstances?
We had heard from sources that she would likely be calling in. We know she's in Canada, where she went back to be with Archie, is where they left him with a friend when they went back to England to make this announcement. So she's there. We thought maybe she'd be calling in, but then we learned today that both Meghan and Harry felt like it wasn't necessary. It's likely they had discussed things in great detail, and I'm sure they were in touch during the day and throughout, but she didn't need to call in for this specific meeting.
Yeah, and then the Queen released a statement where she said that the royal family, they're supportive of Harry and Meghan's decision to start life as a new family. But what are royal insiders saying about that statement?
That this is a historic statement, unprecedented, that they haven't seen something this personal from the Queen in decades, not really since Princess Diana died and she released an emotional statement. We never really get that. We never really hear phrases like, my family and I. So it was deeply personal, a little sad, to have her say that it wasn't really the outcome she would have preferred. So it was a personal and an emotional one, very rare.
Well, and I think from the public's perspective and the royal watching perspective, it's like, hey, she's talking about her grandkids here. This is something, undoubtedly her heart's breaking to some degree, that there would exist a situation in which they would want to leave. What happens next?
So next, you know, the Queen said herself, there are a few details still to be worked out in the coming days. We may not, you know, as the public get information on that from security details, financial, but we will kind of see them establish another base in North America to be seen. Will it be in Canada? Will they have something in the U.S.? So wait to see that. And then, you know, we're hearing that there is a lot of anger there, but as a whole, they all want to work out these rifts for different reasons and start to heal. So hopefully we start to see some of that happening. We'll definitely see Harry and Meghan start venturing out, and we'll see them take their charity, you know, this year to new levels. And, you know, we'll see what happens with Archie too.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what all happens. We'll obviously be tracking along with every step of the way and keeping you informed.
In great detail.
Thank you so much for coming, Erin. And for more of Harry and Meghan, pick up a copy of this week's People on Newsstands Friday. Now we move on to some Bachelor news.
All right, so just as the tension over Hannah Brown was beginning to subside, a whole new wave of drama washed over the Bachelor mansion on Monday's new episode. This time, it involved Kelsey, who'd been saving a special bottle of champagne that she brought from home to enjoy with Peter. But Hannah Ann, who stumbled across the champagne setup during her time with Peter, decided to pop open that bubbly instead. Hannah Ann maintained that it was an honest mistake, insisting there were two separate champagne setups and that she had gotten confused about the whole thing. But Kelsey refused to believe her. Watch.
Hey, I have to say something. It's not okay what you did. I set this up. I brought this bottle from Des Moines. Don't try to play dumb.
I didn't know.
You knew.
I didn't. Tammy just went over here and told me.
Bring Tammy
Literally.
here. Because this was my thing. I said
I had no idea. I would have never done that. I had no idea.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm over it.
Kelsey.
I'm over it.
Kelsey,
Can
I talk to you for a second?
I literally had no idea.
Woof, my goodness, so much drama here. We are breaking down all of that drama from Monday night's episode later in the show with Bachelor alum Jason Tartick. Stick around for that.
Yeah, but first we want to know which side you are on in Champagne Gate. Team Kelsey or Team Hannah Ann? It's a tough decision. I don't know. Vote in our People poll. Let us know your thoughts using the hashtag PeopleNow.
We're going to check in on that a little later, but for now, we move on to this. Sia opening up about her close friendship with international DJ Diplo in a new GQ profile, even admitting that she once asked her fellow artist and business partner to have casual, no-strings-attached sex with her. She tells GQ, quote, much of our relationship is just being spent trying not to have sex so that we wouldn't ruin our business relationship because he's super duper hot. That was her quote. And the revelations, they don't stop there. Sia goes on to reveal that she now has an adopted son and isn't looking for a serious relationship with anyone. She just casually slipped in that information in a bigger quote about Diplo. Here's what she said. This year, I wrote Diplo a text and I said, hey, listen, you're like one of the 5 people that I'm sexually attracted to, and now that I've decided to be single for the rest of my life and I just adopted a son, I don't have time for a relationship. If you're interested in some no-string sex, then hit me up.
Wow.
That was the text.
This is wild.
Pretty straightforward. Rep for Sia did not immediately respond to people's requests for comments. In the interview, the singer also calls Diplo the sweetest thing in the world, but also, quote, one of the most insecure boys I've ever met. Sia clarifies that his insecurities, they don't manifest in any of his musical work, but rather in his personal relationships and during photo shoots. According to GQ, Diplo and Sia have been working together for more than a decade, most recently collaborating for the supergroup LSD, which also includes British rapper Labyrinth. That is a very bold revelation, right?
It is, and also that she's talking about it so openly. I guess he's fine with that.
That's what I was going to say. I want to hear it from him now, right?
I mean, if you know what you want, be direct.
Go for it. You've got more for us in Star Treks.
Yes, I do. We are kicking off Star Treks today with one sporty date night that turned a few heads. Kim Kardashian West and Kanye West had front row seats Monday night as Tristan Thompson and the Cleveland Cavaliers unsuccessfully took on the LA Lakers at the Staples Center. Kim rocked glittery point-toe boots, which she paired with wide-leg snakeskin pants, a black puffer coat, and stylish sunnies. Yes, sunglasses inside. She did take them off there, though. She can pull it off. Meanwhile, Kanye coordinated with her perfectly, of course, wearing a black jacket, green pants, and black boots. Also, Courtney Cox was sitting right next to them, very star-studded front row there. Kim documented her night on her Instagram stories, showing off her shoes before giving fans a glimpse of her courtside view. She seemed to be pretty into the game. Fans on Twitter even reporting that they saw Kim standing at one point while Tristan shot a free throw for the Cavs. I wonder who she was rooting for. I feel like she was rooting against Tristan.
Right.
They've had some drama. Now, Kim has long been an outspoken critic of Tristan's relationship with her sister Khloe, especially after his cheating scandal with Kylie Jenner's best friend, Jordan Woods. Hard to like a guy after that. In September, it appeared as though Kim and Tristan were on better terms after they were spotted at the same restaurant in New York City. A source tells People that Kim was having dinner in Manhattan while being filmed for Keeping Up with the Kardashians when Tristan arrived. The pair were joined by Kim's close friends Lala Anthony, Jonathan Chabin, and Simon Huck. All right, in more Kardashian news, on Monday, Kim K shared a sweet post featuring her 1-year-old daughter, Chicago, and her sister Khloe's 1-year-old daughter, True, and their fun day out at the beloved retail store, Target. Target. Kim writing, quote, "Swipe for major cuteness," and she wasn't lying. Take a look at how much fun these two had.
1, 2, 3, let's go, 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 let's go.
Again, cousins are sitting up in the cart as they glide down the aisle. And in another video, Chicago and True are just hanging out in their cart as their nanny excitedly spins them in circles, definitely enjoying the ride there. I mean, as a kid, this was the most fun thing to do, is go to the store and play in the carts.
I wonder how often they go to Target.
And
does Kim ever take them?
Can you imagine? Yeah, I don't know if Kim
Right,
is.
maybe draw a little crowd.
The nanny does. And finally, the adorable pair even stopped to enjoy some lunch with each other. These two are so, so cute. Chicago is feeding True a plate of rice, beans, and chicken there. They are honestly some adorable kids.
They really are.
I love it. All right, President Donald Trump and his wife Melania were spotted chatting with actor Vince Vaughn during Monday night's college football national championship as the Senate prepares for the president's upcoming impeachment trial back in Washington, D.C. So in this video posted to Twitter, the president looks at ease as he and Vaughn watch the LSU Tigers beat the Clemson Tigers 42-25. Trump seemed engrossed in their conversation, with Vaughn seated on the other side of Melania. Vaughn was seen smiling, happily shook the president's hand following their catch-up session. But a rep for the actor clarified to us that Vaughn and Trump did not attend the championship together. Instead, they, quote, met this evening at the game briefly. Now, despite their friendly chat, Vaughn backed Rand Paul in the 2016 election rather than Trump. Before making their way to the suite to watch the game, the Trumps walked the field at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana, as they were met with chants of USA from the crowd. And those are your Star Tracks for today.
All right, stay with us. John Walsh and his son Callahan are back catching fugitives and recovering missing kids worldwide. They will be here live. Plus, all the drama from this week's dramatic episode of The Bachelor. Oh, that moment, one of the best. More Champagne Gate coming up.
All right, JoJo Siwa is living out her wildest dreams inside her new California mansion, and she's letting her fans get a sneak peek inside with a YouTube vlog. Now, the Dance Moms alum reveals that they haven't quite finished unpacking, but it looks pretty livable.
Yeah, I'd say it's livable. It's like, look at this, like a showcase of her stuff. When you first enter the mansion, you're greeted by a grand piano, this collection of mannequins wearing some of JoJo's iconic outfits from her career. Very colorful outfits there. The living space also comes with a candy counter, complete with a wide variety of sugary favorites, as well as a few other fun things. Take a look.
So then over here we have what is called our 7-Eleven. We have our popcorn maker, our pizza rotator, our nacho chips, our nacho cheese, and our slushie maker.
Oh my gosh, I mean, imagine as a kid, or even as an adult, having that at your fingertips at all times.
I would want to be there right now if I could.
One room in the house has been turned into something of a warehouse to store all of her branded merchandise. And according to JoJo, since her merch has expanded so much, they needed more room to store all the stuff. I'm kind of surprised they do it at the house, but I don't know, whatever works.
A warehouse in your house? This is crazy. I might be most impressed by this open kitchen space because look at this. Not one island, but 2 islands. That's incredible. I mean, here in New York, I don't even have a kitchen. It's a wall. Seriously.
Like a row of appliances.
Yes.
And no counter. JoJo then took fans to her backyard. It includes a basketball court that can be converted to a volleyball court. This would have been a dream growing up. Hello.
Big B-baller?
I was a B-baller until everyone caught up with me in height, and then it turned out I wasn't.
Yeah.
Anyway. Backyard also has a pool, a place to grow oranges, limes, and tangerines in case you'd like your pick of those fruits.
Super casual. In a separate video, JoJo showed off her new bedroom, giving fans glimpses at her photo collage wall, her walk-in closet with her collection of high-top shoes, and a sparkly rainbow bed. Man, this just makes me feel kind of bad.
Yeah, me too.
Let's
move on to this. Court may be in session for supermodel Gigi Hadid. She could be among the jurors in Harvey Weinstein's sexual assault trial in New York. On Monday, Gigi was called to Manhattan Supreme Court along with 120 other potential jurors.
Yeah, Gigi told the judge she has previously met Harvey Weinstein as well as potential witness Salma Hayek, but said she's, quote, still able to keep an open mind on the facts. Gigi is also friends with Cara Delevingne, who accused Weinstein of kissing her in a hotel room.
Yeah, it's a wild situation. Is it possible for anybody to be open-minded in a case like this? It's something that is always a question with high-profile cases, but especially someone that has this kind of relationship to the case in terms of friendships.
I mean, I'm not a legal expert here, but I feel like if you've met Harvey Weinstein, met some of the witnesses and everything, I feel like you'd be ruled out as being a juror.
I can't imagine the defense would want her on the jury. And I'll just tell you from experience, being a possible juror and being questioned, any affiliation with anything even similar to the case at hand was enough to get people booted. I just don't see a world in which she's a juror.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the pro would be that she knows the business and understands the inner workings of that, but I just think there's too many cons and obviously a lot of bias going on for it to be very fair, and I feel like a lot of people would be upset with this.
By the way, what are the chances, though, that for this case, the jury pool of potential jurors just ends up with Gigi Hadid? It's one of those things that you know that this case, the whole way through, there are going to be wild developments and things that we'll be following the whole time. So anyway, all right, we'll keep you posted on all those things. Disgraced film producer Harvey Weinstein's criminal trial opened last Monday in Manhattan. After jury selection is completed, it could last up to 2 months.
Weinstein was accused by more than 80 women of sexual misconduct, but in court he faces 2 counts of rape, 1 count of criminal sexual act, and 2 counts of predatory sexual assault based on the accusations of only 2 women.
This is all according to the Washington Post. Like we said, we'll keep you posted on this with developments right here on People Now.
Fitness expert Jillian Michaels knows everything there is to know about eating healthy and working out, but what about getting kids on board for a healthy lifestyle?
Jillian is a mom of 2, so she definitely can relate to parent struggles in that department, and she explained to me what she does when her daughter wants to turn to food to cope. Watch this.
Some of it's easy, right? Like my son has this crazy fast metabolism, and you role model fitness for them, and both my kids are unbelievably active. They like karate, they like dance, they like being, they love all that stuff.
So the activity's there, the motion is there.
Make it fun for them, get them outside, get them involved in physical activities they enjoy. Kids should not be working out, hence the term working, no working, right? Fun,
play.
Bingo, thank you. Like there is a social network, it's called outside. Get them outside.
Get out and go.
Or get them in an activity. Then the next thing with food is it really does require, as they get a bit older, just explaining it. Like my daughter really struggles with food. She's got all the same issues with food that I have. Like it's love, it's comfort, it's control. She wants it when she's anxious, she wants it when she's bored. And it's like, we talk about it openly and I'm like, dude, I totally get it. And I try to explain to her, I'm like, okay, like what else can we do right now? What else can we engage in? What else can like let's play. Let's play with your dolls. Let's do this, let's do that. But you got to acknowledge, like when people tend towards that as a coping mechanism, they just do. So you got to work with it. You never say the word diet. You never ever judge their body or their weight. And you just talk about food in a way that's healthy. I'm like, look, baby, you can have pizza. I'm having pizza. But why don't we both have 2 slices? Because she would eat the whole thing. She would. And I'm like, if we do, it's going to be really bad for us.
Yeah.
Like, let's do 2. Let's see how we feel. Let's go do something. And then if we're still hungry, and then she noticed she forgets.
Yeah.
So but I have the issues, so I'm better equipped to help her with it. I can recognize all the signs. And it's not about deprivation, it's just teaching them like, okay, if we have this, we can't have that.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
We were contacted by the U.S. Marshals. They gave us a list of some of their top cases, and on the top of that list was 47-year-old Jeffrey Forrest, an alleged sexual predator wanted since 2016.
You know him from his 25-year run on the hit primetime show America's Most Wanted, where he helped successfully capture criminals across the world.
Now John Walsh is back, along with his son and co-host Callahan Walsh, for the 2nd season of their investigation discovery show, In Pursuit with John Walsh. We have them both here with us in studio. Thanks for joining us.
Nice to see you guys again.
Let's clarify it, though. The people are going to want to know what happened with the hand. A little polo accident here.
No, one of the fugitives we caught, I had to tune him up a little bit.
It's okay. It took a twist.
Bad guy.
Yeah, all right, there we go. Well, we wish you the best in your recovery there.
You found a lot of success with the 1st season. Now you're back, capturing fugitives, finding kidnapped kids. What keeps you going after almost 3 decades of this work?
I will always be that heartbroken father of a murdered child. I hate the way that We have this huge level of violence against women and children in America. We're still the #1 sex trafficking of children country in the world.
That's so shocking to hear.
It's
it really
creepy,
is.
isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, we put a man on the moon, Mars Mars rover for $44 billion, and we're still the #1 sex trafficking of children country in the world. We're the richest, most powerful country, and we have the most violence of any first world country.
Yeah, it's
the most
terrible.
homicides, the most mass murders, the most school shootings. It's terrible.
You know, in the times that we've had you here and we've talked to you, you leave a real impression. And Callahan, I wondered, what is maybe the #1 thing, maybe a tip or piece of advice that your dad has given you that's really helped shape who you are today?
To never give up.
Yeah.
Never give up. I grew up in a household that said we need to make sure that Adam, my brother who was kidnapped and murdered in 1981, that Adam didn't die in vain. And if his song is to continue, then we must do the singing. And I saw my parents do exactly that, whether it was co-founding the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, an organization that's helped recover over 300,000 missing kids, or him capturing the bad guys, going out there every week and getting justice for families that so deserve it. Mm-hmm. He kept battling, my mom kept battling, and I'm honored to follow in their footsteps.
Yeah, you two have done such incredible work, so thank you so much. How is this season different than the last one?
Well, last season we had huge success. We caught 10 guys. First one was the first one was a U.S. Marshals 15 most wanted, top of their list, looking for him for 5 years. Caught him in 3 days in Mexico. The second one was an FBI top 10 fugitive, top of their list. Caught him in 2 days. He was living in a homeless shelter for the last 3 years, 3 blocks from FBI headquarters in Washington, D.C.
Wow.
Walking around the streets.
Unbelievable. Well, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but we're profiling the worst of the worst. I'll pick one guy. Callahan does one. He does a lot of the legwork because I spent most of his adult life, or his life, traveling. So, and we still feature 2 missing children from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, where he works all during the week, and then he works as my field reporter.
You two, you're the best at what you do, but what is the biggest challenge you face when it comes to your job on a day-to-day basis?
For me, it's talking to the families of the victims. You know, I have to go in and ask the tough questions, but it's about telling their story. It's about keeping the story of what happened alive in hopes that somebody out there has the key that unlocks that door to justice. Somebody out there knows what happened to these victims, who that criminal is, something about their whereabouts, and that's what we really have to do. We have to harness the power of the public and get them to give us those tips so we can get justice.
And the hardest thing is turning down cases. America is so violent, law enforcement don't have the resources. People write or text or whatever, get to me and go, "You're the father of a murdered child. Our case is cold. We need closure." It took 27 years for me to solve Adam's case. I mean, we actually solved our son's murder ourselves because of the bad police work, and they had kept it secret and wouldn't let us have the files. So the turning down victims that are desperate to end that chapter of their life. So, but the public has really taken to this show. It's a big hit on ID, and you know, I thought it was time to hang up my spurs, but you know, he's done such a phenomenal job that we're on our 2nd season, and we're still out there hunting for these creeps.
Yeah, and a lot has changed since the first time you started with this work. I'm curious, how has social media altered the way that you look or capture fugitives? Has it made it easier, or maybe in a way more challenging?
It has made it a lot easier. When the internet was invented, we were always a top website, and the first year we caught 40 guys off the website. So now with social media is a big partner with us. Facebook is one of our biggest supporters, so it spreads the word. And as Cal knows, you can talk about pictures of missing children.
Yeah, absolutely. At the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, we know the most important tool when it comes to the recovery of a missing child is a photo of that child. It doesn't do any good if nobody sees it, though. But it's the same with our fugitives. Getting that image out there, shining a white-hot spotlight on these people, making the world a lot smaller place, and harnessing the power of the public.
You talked about earlier, obviously you mentioned the loss of your son, your brother Adam, in 1981, kidnapped, murdered. You solved it, turning down families. For families that you can't help, and maybe they have to take it upon themselves to do something, what is your #1 piece of advice for them on what to do?
Go to the media. Unfortunately, in America, a lot of people have to keep their child or their loved one, their crime victim loved one, in the face of the media. It's unfortunate, but a lot of times it's up to the family and survivors and friends of the victim or that missing child to keep going to the media. I hate to turn down people. I hate it, but you could come on your show if it was somebody you knew. We're doing a really tough case that is about a little girl that wound up being a babysitter for us and a friend of Callahan and the family. And she was murdered out of Las Vegas, and we're looking for that bad guy. But her family never gave up. Her family is still searching and working with us to try and find the murder of Lindsay Harris, who was a friend of Callahan's.
You know, losing your son really fueled this career for you. When you think back, what's one memory of Adam that always kind of pops into your head?
The most beautiful little boy. Taught him to swim early. I loved the ocean, and took him all over with me, and took him on trips, my wife and I, and we called him the little gentleman, and I used to do a lot of underwater photography and diving, and I taught him to swim, and he's a good ocean man too, but he was the most wonderful, beautiful little boy. And the guy that murdered Adam was a serial predator who roamed this country for years and grabbed kids all over this country, and it just, not only the horrible abduction and murder of Adam, the not being able to save the case, but the anger that I had for all those years. Why don't we have a system? Why didn't we have a sex offender registry? Why wasn't it important to the FBI to look for missing children or stranger abducted children? All those things. And unfortunately, I've been able to testify before Congress for the last 30 years, nonstop, every single state. But I've got to say one thing. The last year set all types of records for homicides in America. Chicago had 700 homicides plus. Wow. And only arrested 10 people. So you have a 90, you have a high chance of getting away with murder in Chicago, Detroit, Baltimore, New Orleans. It's not like that in the rest of the first world countries. We had 307 mass murders last year. We had 29 school shootings. There's no first world country where you send your kids to school and they get shot by other kids. It's appalling, the level of violence. And last year it broke all kinds of records. And I'm saying to the public, we all care about, the director of the FBI and the U.S. Marshals director that I was talking to said, you've got to come out of retirement and help us catch these bad guys. America cares about the housewives of whatever county or the Kardashians. They don't want to talk about the level of violence, that we're #1 in sex trafficking in children and all those things. And I'm trying to say to Americans, you have to corner and headlock your politicians and say, shouldn't we put women and children #1? Shouldn't we talk about this level of violence? We're the richest, most powerful in the country. Right. We're not Somalia. We're not Nicaragua.
And you're doing great work in shedding light in just that, even today doing this, and you did that before in America's Most Wanted, obviously a show you hosted for so long. There have been talks and reports of Fox bringing that back. If it happens, what does a host need to know to be successful in that role and taking on a show like that?
A lot. The respect of law enforcement. You have to earn that. The media is not very kind to law enforcement. You have to treat the victims with respect. In my contract, I will not show the face of a child if a victim's family doesn't want a certain person to come on. Or Callahan's fabulous at talking to the victims because the media is mean. They want the wife to cry, the husband to look stoic. They ask questions that are nobody's business. Have to be tenacious. It's a hard, tough job. And you see the underbelly of American society. And you have to turn people down. It's a grueling, exhausting, very, very tough, sad type of work. But every now and then you find a missing child alive. We recovered 61 missing children in America's Most Wanted. I caught guys all over the world in 45 countries. Wow. So, but this is the guy for the job right here.
Yeah. Would you be interested in hosting America's Most Wanted? Is that something you see yourself doing?
We'll see. My home's at Investigation Discovery. We're doing some great work.
We love
in
working
Pursuit.
there.
We've got a great track record. The show's proven success already. That's my home. That's where we've gotten the opportunity to get back out there in the field and get justice for families that so deserve it. And so we're doing some actionable work right now, and that's what I'm proud of.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you both for everything that you're doing.
Good to talk to you.
And thank you so much for stopping by. We love when you stop by. All right, everyone, be sure to watch the season premiere of In Pursuit with John Walsh, airing Wednesday, January 15th at 10 p.m. Eastern on Investigation Discovery.
This is the best emotional support dog out there?
All dogs do that. Maybe not that much.
Dr. Kasanoff said dude came from a highly renowned service dog school. I'm sure that he will hit the ground running.
Whoops.
Dude, you are hopeless. Ugh. So I wasn't cut out to be a service dog, but they thought I could handle being an emotional support dog. I mean, how hard could this be? I let you pet me when you're feeling down. You give me treats. Please tell me you have treats.
Hey, kiddo, My gut is telling me that dude is the answer. And you know what I always say about my gut?
That it can't handle dairy?
Yes. But also that it's never wrong.
I love it. Meet your new favorite dog, Dude. The sweet pup serves as an emotional support dog for Noah, a kid suffering from social anxiety disorder, on Netflix's new show, The Healing Powers of Dude.
So his parents, played by Tom Everett Scott and Larissa Oleynik, stopped by People Now, where Larissa revealed how she was able to relate to Noah.
I'm familiar with my own everyday anxiety, which, and I think one of the things that I love about the show is that I think we're living in a time and in a world where we're all speaking more openly about these things just as part of our everyday existence. But in terms of the research that I did for the show, I really tried to approach it via the lens of my character and being a mom and thinking like, how would I, if this were my child, approach this? And so I did all of the research, but kind of at the end of the day, you know, your kid is your kid, and that's like intuition based, and that's day by day based. And so I did all of the work, and then I kind of just let it be what it wanted to be, which is, I guess, acting too.
Yeah. You get the script for the first time, you read it through. What grabs you about it? What'd you love?
For me, it was, sorry.
No.
For me, it was just that immediately I was like, oh my gosh, this is about a kid who has anxiety, and his friends are amazing, and they're all just, like real people, and we're going to relate to this. So I was immediately buying into that, and I also thought it was really funny and that my character had some good bits.
Same for me. It was just the balance of humor and heart, which I think is really, it's tough to get that perfect. And when they actually complement each other, where when the more you laugh, the more your heart gets invested, and then by the end of the episode you're like, oh no, that's weird. That to me is perfection, and I wanted to be a part of it from the beginning.
What kind of conversations do you hope this show sparks after people watch it?
I think one of the best things about it is that if you're genuine and you're honest and you just, one of my favorite moments in the pilot is when Noah says out loud to Amara, he's trying really hard to get into his homeroom and go to school, and he's kind of coming up against her, and he says to her just out loud, like, I have social anxiety disorder, and everything about her melts, like any walls that she might have up based on people's perceptions of her and perhaps her own challenges in life, you see them all just completely dissipate, and they are really viewing each other as humans and really understanding each other in that moment. And I think that that's a beautiful takeaway, that if you're just kind of honest and upfront about things, like, it's much less scary than it is when you're trying to keep it all in.
Now, this really is a great, sweet show for kids. Larissa was a child star herself. You might recognize her from The Secret World of Alex Mack, yes, in The Babysitter's Club. She's done some stuff. So we wanted to know what she thinks about how kids their shows have evolved over the years.
Oh, wow, what a really interesting question. You know, I think it's good entertainment is good entertainment. And I think good storytelling is good storytelling. So I think, yeah, maybe we're exploring some topics that we maybe haven't explored before, and this show has made disability representation the focus of, it's really put it at the forefront, and I think that that's incredibly important. But overall, it actually kind of reminds me of some of the shows that I watched when I was a kid. And so I think that they actually have a lot more in common than we think.
And of course, we couldn't let Tom go without discussing this full circle moment here. So Charlize Theron recently presented Tom Hanks with the Cecil B. DeMille Award at the Golden Globes, and she included a story regarding her time on That Thing You Do,
which is a movie that Tom Everett Scott starred in as well. We went down memory lane with him to talk about his time on set with Tom Hanks.
When I saw her give that intro to his award, it brought back memories of my own audition for him, which was very similar, that he was just so kind, and he obviously knew that I was nervous, and just gave me like 2 minutes alone with him to just chat and then do the audition. He was great. He was really, really sweet.
Additionally to that, you worked with Steve Zahn on That Thing You Do.
That's right.
And now we come full circle. He voices Dude the dog in The Healing Powers of Dude. I mean, there's all these links.
I know.
What was the reunion like with Steve?
Well, we shot the show before Steve was part of it. And so when he was added later, he and I were texting back and forth, and he said, this is just another step in our journey, Tom, as, friends and in our careers. We were once bandmates, and now we are dog and dog owner. Who knows where we will go next.
Next, right? Yeah.
I was not going to sit there and stand there and be like, it's all right, because no, it's not all right.
Hannah Brown.
If you stay here, you need to know the repercussions of what is gonna happen.
I'm fighting for my chance to be here, and I'm fighting for love. And I'm gonna do what I have to do.
It just hurts. It hurts really bad.
I don't want to be here anymore. He can be with Hannah. I'm going home. I'm done.
I am so glad The Bachelor's back. So much drama. Here to break down Monday night's episode of The Bachelor is People's senior news editor Michelle Corson and Bachelor alum Jason Tardik. Welcome.
It's good to be here.
It's nice to meet you. I have to say, I've been following along with you and your girlfriend, Caitlin Bristow from The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, and you guys were so cute together. You've reached a year?
A year, yeah. So it was about January last year. So, and like we were saying earlier, that's a long time in The Bachelor.
It's a very long time.
What's the key to making it work?
What's that?
What's the key to making it work?
I think it's communication. And as for anyone that knows Caitlin, she's very candid and transparent, and that's been the key to our relationship.
And get 2 cute puppies.
2 adorable goldens.
Pino
and ramen. Yeah, we saved them from South Korea. They're the best.
There you go. All right, let's talk about this episode. It starts right back at that whole emotional moment with Hannah B and Peter. It's in tears, the whole thing. The women unhappy about this, rightfully so. I think they're going to be even more unhappy when they, now they've seen it play out. But you've been there as a contestant. What's going through your head if you're one of these girls having that moment where he's with his ex?
I think it's a wild thing to comprehend. I think it was great when Hannah came back, gave him the wings, adorable. I think that you kind of led the date. That was something that you probably, probably more production. But this was very raw. Like, this was raw, this was real, this is authentic. And if you're watching that, the whole thing that would be going through my head moving forward is Hannah B always going to be in the back of his mind? And is he over it?
Michelle, how do you think Peter handled this whole situation?
As best as he could, because you can tell he seemed not to be fully over her. This definitely felt like, I don't know if anyone's tried to get closure in real life, but this felt like an attempt at that. But what's interesting, the only misstep I think he made is he sort of invited her to join the season, and then I think had this moment where he realized, what am I doing? I'm the Bachelor. But he didn't tell the other women that he had extended that offer, and that could come back to bite him once they watch the show.
Well, and you kind of hit on it there too. He extended the offer / production really wanted her involved because she's great for ratings and the fans love her.
Right.
And there's just this level of remembering when this was being taped, it wasn't that far after the finale. I mean, in relation to when we're seeing it now.
And I feel like so many people, you run into an ex and all those feelings come back. So I think a lot of people could relate to those scenes.
Especially in the Bachelor world, right? So there's no phones, no TVs, no distractions. So when you are feeling for someone, you have those relationships, it's very intimate, right? And so to bring it back to reality while everything else is going on has to be a disarray for both of them.
Let's get into the good stuff. Champagne game.
Yes.
Unbelievable. The drama that went down this cocktail party later, specifically Kelsey and Hannah Ann. It's now called Champagne Game. Hannah popped a special bottle of champagne that Kelsey was saving for Peter. She had brought it from her hometown. Things get out of hand. Watch.
Don't talk to me.
Okay.
Don't talk to me. You know what you did. Don't talk to me.
I respect your opinion. If you don't want to talk, then okay.
Honey.
If that's what you want to say, then let's leave it at that. But if you want to sit down and have a conversation.
You don't walk up to something that's lit in a champagne bottle and think that that's for you. Clearly, that's not for you. So off.
This was incredible. How is this drama going to impact the relationships with Peter? I mean, who do you think looked better in this situation?
Ooh, I mean, I understand Kelsey being upset, but she handled this in such a dramatic, insane way. And Hannah Ann kept her composure. We don't really know if this was nefarious on her part, but I think she came off looking very innocent in the situation.
Well, okay, Jason, the producers definitely set this up, right? They said, hey, you should go get some champagne around the corner, and then Hannah Ann saw the champagne.
I have to imagine Hannah Ann did not know that it was Kelsey's, right? But it's interesting because the confrontation, like, we kind of live in a world today, we want polarizing, we want real. So there's a side of me like, okay, Kelsey, I like that you're handling it this way. And with Hannah Ann, she handled it so well. So I'm like going back and forth. But I think later in the episode, we realized that Kelsey's got some.
She can't let it go.
Well, you know what? To me, that was Kelsey was a perfect example of being fueled by they were all drinking, probably some alcohol, and then producer egging on because it was like, okay, yeah, I'm on board with you being mad, and I'm still on board the second time, third time, and then it goes on and on to a point of
when the champagne goes all over her face, it's the best thing I've ever seen.
It was the most chef's kiss moment of the show.
Do you think the producers were shaking it and then put it on the side? He doesn't think so.
But here's my point with that. I remember Peter saying, do you want a glass or do you want to take out? He gave her the option.
She She went for the bottle.
Let's do this, and it came everywhere.
It's just like cherry on top.
Real quick, the only point I want to make is sometimes I think past what we see, the only thing I wonder is did that bottle have some type of like sentimental meaning we don't know about?
And we didn't really get to hear it, right?
Lost a family member.
Yeah.
Who knows? That could spark that frustration.
Yeah,
That's
she
true.
saved it for a whole year.
Right, so who knows?
But you might want to let everybody else know, like, don't touch the bottle. Anyway,
Yeah.
Monday's group date, this fashion show with Revolve, Victoria F started to kind of feel the competition. Jason, what do you think, as far as your experience goes, how soon is the competition really felt, and can it start getting to people?
Competition starts from the minute you walk in that door. I remember I walked in and I'm seeing 30 absolute studs, taller than me, bigger than me. I'm like, this is crazy.
You're immediately in your head,
You're
right?
immediately in your head. You go to the background. Oh, I'm an NFL player. I'm like, I'm just a banker from Buffalo. How why am I here? Right? So it starts manifesting, and by week 2, for me, week 2 was the hardest. Didn't have a date. It's very difficult, and the smallest things can mentally kind of say.
Well, then you do a fashion show in front of people, and then of course Victoria pulls out the lingerie, right? And she was like, okay, now I'm confident. What do you think about Hannah Ann and her having this it factor? What is it about her that's so appealing?
She's just super bubbly, and I really think it does boil down to confidence. And she believes that she's a catch and that she's there and that she's gonna make this connection, and it comes off really well. The Victoria thing is interesting because she says she's very insecure, and then she completely sold it.
No, she like dominated that entire show.
And kissed him on stage. I was like, wow, you can fake it at least, I guess.
We've talked about this a lot before, and this has been a point you've made, that it seems like a lot of the people that come into the show are used to being like the top dog in their group.
Right.
Sure.
Like, right? Like the dudes come in, it's like, hey, I'm the #1 guy in my pack of guys.
Group, right.
And maybe that's the same with the girls. And so to be faced with that kind of competition, even though Victoria is gorgeous.
Oh my God, stunning.
But it's tough for her to deal
Well,
with
you're
it.
looking around, like you said, and there's all these beautiful women. You have to walk a fashion show. I mean, a lot of people, I think, would crumble under that.
And I think the thing you got to remember is a lot, like Hannah Ann, she's a professional to me. Like the way she could work that stage, and she's a model. She knows what she's doing. Some people, like I had never been in front of a camera like that, so to try and like talk to someone in front of a camera with producers watching is different.
Here's a question that always comes up. So Hannah Ann ends up confiding in Peter that Kelsey's been bullying her since Champagne Gate and all that went down. Peter then he listens to her, he confronts Kelsey. Is it bad to get the Bachelor involved in the drama or Bachelorette involved in the drama at this point in the game? I feel like it's early.
I think it's really bad. And also earlier in the episode when Peter, I think was acting like a nice guy, wanted to find out what was wrong, he tried to find Kelsey in the bathroom. And
she was like, no.
I don't want to talk to
you.
you.
Right.
You have to remember why you're here, and ostensibly it's to find love. Hopefully that's why Kelsey's coming up and looking for a rose, not a Revolve sponsorship. But like, it just doesn't come off well. You have to remember, don't get distracted by the competition. And I think season after season, guys that have ended up in these feuds, and they're so mad. I think with Hannah, it was Luke P. There were people who just focused on Luke P and wanted to take him down. And I think someone like Pete actually did a good job of staying above the fray, and look at him now.
Yeah, you gotta try to stay out of the drama and also keep it together. So the episode ends on this cliffhanger with Hannah Ann and Kelsey. How do you think this is gonna shake out next week?
I mean, it'll be interesting to see. I think Hannah Ann has a more natural chemistry and connection with Peter. So I think as a result of that, it's gonna work out in her favor.
But Kelsey is fun to watch.
We need a 2-on-1. We need a 2-on-1.
We need a good 2-on-1.
Yeah.
Well, at this point, they've only spent 15 minutes with Peter, probably. So to your point, I wouldn't be bringing up anybody else but myself, and if there's a connection.
Yeah, all right. So we're taking a look at our question of the day before we go. We want to know which side you are on in the whole Champagne Gate scandal. Let's take a quick look.
See? Looks
Team
like
Hannah Ann.
That's 60-40.
All right.
I don't know.
so
I
Kelsey's
kind
got
of
a little
enjoy Kelsey, honestly, for the drama.
Great
But
TV.
Can't wait to see what happens next. All right, Jason and Michelle, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, great to talk to you guys. Coming up tomorrow, the SAG Awards are this weekend. We are breaking down our favorite glam red carpet trends and what we could see on Sunday.
Plus, Ben Bailey is stopping by to talk about everyone's favorite means of transportation, Cash Cab, and his new stand-up tour. Thanks for watching. See you later.
Bye, guys.